Hey everybody, it's me, it's Sarah Brockwell from St. Michael Catholic Church, and we are here for some more time for meditation this morning on resilient faith, and today is called The Weight of Loss. So you'll see a written reflection about loss and how to deal with loss in kind of a spiritual way or a constructive way. Certainly we're all experiencing loss right now. We're all going through times where we're having to deal with things that we thought were going to happen, and we've had to let some of that go. Big moments in our lives, perhaps. I know I have some friends who have lost some loved ones and not being able to have a funeral. People wanting to get married, and just all of the things that we are sacrificing right now to be safe. That's all loss. And so today's meditation is really talking about loss in general. So it doesn't have to be about COVID-19. It can certainly be about the loss of your career right now, maybe, the loss of security. Maybe you'd worked a really long time to get your life really calm, and now all of a sudden it's just disorganized and out of sense. So all of those things are losses, and it's helping us to learn how to move forward beyond the loss. I am drawn to think a little bit about the disciples after the Emmaus walk story. They were walking along and Jesus kind of met with them, and they didn't quite know who he was, but they were walking away from Jerusalem, and they were so lost. They were so unbelievably sad that in the middle of their grief, they couldn't even recognize Christ in their midst. So let's take a moment right now and get on the walk to Emmaus. So whatever loss you're going through right now, let's take a big, deep breath in and just release all the tension. Let's try it again. Big, deep breath and release. And if it feels good to close your eyes, or maybe just to gaze and listen to my voice, imagine yourself there on the road to Emmaus. You're finding that your loss is so great. You're only allowed one companion as you walk away. And so you and your companion are walking down the road together, maybe 6 feet apart, but you're finding a way to communicate about your loss. But there's not enough words. And so you take a moment in silence, not to try to escape the loss, but to experience it. Take some deep breaths, and every time you inhale, imagine all of the energy around you, bringing it in. Deep breath. And as you exhale, release the loss. Don't contain it inside yourself. Let it flow through you like water. When we try to hold it in or put it in a box, we tend to feel a lot of pain and pressure. A friend of mine once told me she didn't hold it in. She let it wash through her like water. I found this remarkably comfortable and very healing. So imagine your loss now, rushing through you like water, coming in and releasing back out. And so as you make your way down this path, you recognize Jesus there. He is talking to you. and you are not blind. You come out of your grief and your loss and you recognize Jesus. There are definitely stories about what Jesus said, but I'm going to read some scripture from 1 Peter. So this is not the scripture from the Emmaus story in the Gospels, but this is a story and a reading that I think Jesus may have said to these disciples as well, and maybe to you and me in the midst of our great losses. So just listen if your eyes are still closed. This is from 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 12 through 14. Beloved, do not be surprised that a trial by fire is occurring among you, as if something strange were happening to you. But rejoice to the extent that you share in the sufferings of Christ, so that when his glory is revealed, you may also rejoice exultantly. If you are insulted for the name of Christ, blessed are you, for the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. One thing I know about purifying ourselves in these final days of Lent, part of the purification process that you'll see in the reflection that is written goes into how gold is put into fire to make it pure. And in order for the gold to be so pure, it has to be tested in fire so hot that it brings the impurities to the surface and releases them. So in order for us to find some purification and some release from the losses that we're experiencing right now in the midst of all of this confusion and suffering, remember, there is always God walking with us on the road to Emmaus. Always God walking with us. And then in order to see God and know Christ, we have to go through a time of purification from all of this loss. The impurities, they will bubble up to the surface. And if we allow them, they can wash away from us. We can experience loss of the bad things in our lives too, of the fear, of the confusion. And we can rest humbly, knowing that God is with us. So don't be surprised. Don't be at a loss for words. Know that God is here. Amen.